Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to our first ever Nestle Day Series event. We hope that this three-part event series focusing on DE&I, sustainability, and innovation will provide you with a more intimate view into our culture. Today's event is titled Strengthening Culture and Community Through DE&I. We're happy to have you here with us, and we're thrilled to dive deeper into what it's like to be a member of the Nestle community with four amazing colleagues of mine. First, I want to remind everyone that we are hiring. Opportunities are available across the nation in our corporate offices, as well as our manufacturing facilities at multiple levels. After the session, you will get a follow-up email from us with not only a recording of the event, but also a link to join our talent community. Be sure to attach your resume so our recruiters can easily reach out to you for openings, and you can also subscribe to job alerts. You'll also get a link to apply to our openings on our career site. Applying through that link will signal to our recruiters that you attended the session today. So here's what you can expect for the next 45 minutes. We'll start off with getting to know our panelists better. Then we'll spend the majority of our time diving deeper into their stories and why DE&I is an important piece of Nestle community and culture. And then we'll wrap up with live audience Q&A. I encourage you all to follow along during the conversation and check out the chat box on your screen. You can submit questions to our panelists there, and we'll do our best to get to as many as possible. Let's get started. Welcome again, everyone. My name is Amber Felice, and I will be your host today. On the line with me, I have four very successful team members representing a variety of groups from technical and production, engineering, sales, as well as diversity and inclusion. A big welcome to our panelists today. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to kick things off with an introduction. I'll start. So I have been a talent sourcing partner on the Nestle talent acquisition team for 10 months now. I'm working remotely from New Jersey. Traveling, cooking, and my dog are three of my biggest passions, so I'm thankful for Nestle giving me the flexibility to enjoy all of these more. My favorite Nestle products are a tie between Pellegrino and Abuelita hot chocolate. We will first kick it off with Jessica Siverson. Jessica, can you tell us a bit more about your background and career path?
Thanks, Amber. Yeah, I think I've had a really special Nestle career. I started almost 5 years ago with Nestle USA, working on Stouffer's, DiGiorno's, and Lean Cuisines. And I've recently transitioned into Nestle Health Science, working on Vital Proteins and Bountiful, which it's very hard to pick a favorite product because they're all so awesome. On top of that, I'm also an active military reservist with almost 16 years of service. Now, it might not sound like I have a lot of free time, but being able to be remote and all of the flexible benefits within Nestle, I'm also a co-lead for our military representation group. And I also, with my free time, I like to run on purpose. With that, that's enough about me, but I'm going to introduce you to Helio.
Hello, everybody. Helio Matsumoto here. I'm Brazilian. Was born and raised in Brazil. I'm working for Nestle for the last 25 years, almost 26 now. I've been in different roles inside Nestle. I'm an electrical engineer by degree. I have 2 MBAs also. And in fact, Nestle is my whole career after college. So I've been in Nestle since I was an intern, and I joined the factories. I work at R&D center in Switzerland. I was in corporate roles in Brazil, in Switzerland again, as in our corporate head office, in here now in US, almost 4 years now, helping the market in the engineering space, always in the engineering space. So in my role in Nestle, especially when I was in R&D, I could travel quite a lot in the world. So you can see the small map there, a lot of countries that I visited during my work. But and I have really close to my heart a lot of the product that I have helped to develop, Nescafé, beverages, Nescau, Nesquik, Ninho, and infant formula. So my kids use it when they were small. And a part of family activities that is kind of hindered because of COVID. I like fish keeping, so I have 3 aquariums at home. Okay, that's it about me. And now meet Greg.
Hi, thanks, Helio. Hi, Greg Mihal here. I'm a customer account manager here in New York City, which means I get the really fun job of selling Coffee Mate and Starbucks creamers, Toll House morsels, Toll House cookies, San Pellegrino water. I've had the pleasure of having a number of roles across sales, retail, and strategic initiatives for 20 years here. Like Helio, I started out as an intern, so I've really found a place here at Nestlé. I've also worked for 2 different operating companies. So I've worked for both Nestlé Waters and now Nestlé USA, each being, again, a little bit different, but really that same Nestlé feel between both. I'm a proud Boston College graduate. I often volunteer through them, whether that's working at a food pantry or volunteering at a senior center. In my free time, I love to golf. I coach youth basketball, and probably like many out there, I'm addicted to Wordle. I'm also a proud champion of disability inclusion, and I'll talk to that more in the future. And I'll pass it over to Caitlin. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Hey, everybody. My name is Caitlin Sullins. I have the great privilege of working on our diversity, equity, and inclusion team. I have been with Nestlé since 2018. I am from San Francisco, California, born and raised, and graduate of California State University, Sacramento. I am a Golden State Warriors fan, and that's not just as of recently, born and raised, so it's in my blood. I am also a new mom. You see my beautiful family there. I have an 8-month-old daughter, and being able to work remote has allowed me to move back home to San Francisco for the first time in many, many years. My career has taken me many places like Arizona, Virginia, North Carolina. So being able to be back in California is really special to me. And you see here, my husband and I are hiking and enjoying the California sun. That is definitely a hobby of ours, although we don't get to do much of it now with the daughter, but that's something we do love doing. And I would say my favorite Nestlé product has to be Coffee Mate. As a new mom, it's a must in the morning to get my day started. I'm really excited to embark on this conversation with you all, not just because it's about DE&I and something I'm really passionate about, but just would love to share my perspective and experience with you all too. So with that, Amber, I will throw things back over to you.
It was great getting to know our panelists. Now let's learn more about their experiences and gain exclusive insight into how each of you take it upon yourselves to strengthen the culture and community at Nestlé. So with that, let's jump into the first question. The ability to cultivate meaningful relationships in the workplace often starts with empathy. Jessica, this first question is for you. Why is empathy an important skill we need to have to make the workplace a better environment?
Thanks, Amber. Yeah, this is something that's definitely near and dear to my heart. So when you think about the last 2.5 years, you think about the start of COVID, how that changed everyone's lives, right? And then I think there was kind of a cultural awakening when George Floyd was murdered, and then all of the hate against Asian Americans, and then also some of the military tragedies, right? So we think about all of these things, they impact people. And as much as we try to be strong people and say, you know, the things that happen to me or the things that happen in the world don't impact me, they do impact you in the workplace. But I think, you know, as we shift and think about empathy, right, it's not just about having those hard skills. Can I do my job well? Can I, you know, execute on this plan? Can I lead all these things? To me, it's about looking at the whole person and saying, you know what, I need to step back and really assess how these things that are happening in the workforce and happening in our world impact the people that I'm working with. Because if I can connect with someone, I'm going to create that buy-in that lets them know that I'm sincerely passionate about how the world is impacting them, and that's going to make them more connected to my organization. But what that also does is it makes the world a better place. So think about it. You have the opportunity to connect with someone in the workplace that will essentially make your world better. And you might not even realize it at first, but you know, just something little like that, you know, with empathy that really drives, you know, things to the next level for not only the organization, but the world, because let's be honest, we need to make the world a better place. So those are just my thoughts, Amber.
Thank you for stressing the importance of making that personal connection. Here, as a leader, can you shed light on the latter part of this question? How do you show empathy as it relates to your team?
Yes, yeah, thanks for the question. It's really important in empathy because I've been leading people since 2005. So currently I have 19 people in my team. So I think it's really important. But before being a leader, also I'm also an employee and I also a person. And I liked when the other people also show empathy towards myself. So I think it's nothing more normal that I also demonstrate this to my team and other colleagues. So I think I'm really a shy person. I was always being, and that's why I listen more than I talk. And I think this is a good thing because, in fact, listening is key. You have to listen to the people. You have to understand their point of view, and this is what you can use to understand their side and giving better coaching, a better connection when we're talking with the people. So, for example, one of the great resources that we have here in Nestlé USA is the Women Engineering Network. I'm one of the 700 members on this group, and they are really doing great job on building, having the objective to build equity for women in technical roles, inspire women. So I'm leading and I'm learning a lot from them, and this is something that I really appreciate. So I think have both sides. We have to listen, and you also have to express yourself, but everything is important in this relationship between colleagues. Doesn't matter if it's leader or employee from a part of the group. Okay, thanks. Amber?
Absolutely, Helio. Really listening and also being able to express yourself is absolutely key. Thank you. We can agree that individually and as part of a team, empathy is a critical skill to succeed in the workplace. Authenticity also being an important quality. Greg, as you know at Nestlé, we encourage authenticity and bringing your best self to work. What does that mean to you?
Sure, that's a great question. Well, for me personally, it means being able to discuss my disabilities with others. I have several physical disabilities. I'm a right leg amputee. I wear hearing aids for a hearing loss, and I have a hand deformity all since birth. So in my instance, that could be talking to my boss about time away for a leg adjustment, or maybe needing to sit up front at a national sales meeting to hear. And I've been really lucky to work with such great leaders and colleagues who've been incredibly understanding and supportive. I'm really proud that Nestlé recognizes and accepts the attributes that all make us unique, just as our customers and our consumers are all unique too.
Thank you for sharing. Helio, we'd love to hear how you bring your authentic and best self to work each day.
Yes, sure. Yeah. So as I told, I more than 25 years with the company, and I think in my whole career, I never left the point that I can be myself in the company, because yes, I already told I'm Brazilian, so basically I'm a Latin American, but I also have all my family with roots in Japan, so I have a strong Japanese culture, and both are not conflicting. And afterwards, I was even living abroad. In my career, in fact, I lived in Switzerland during 11 years in total, and now 4 years in US, and I think everything only adds. So being authentic is that I know who I am. I have my beliefs, but I also learn from others, and I think this is the mix that will make me be a better leader in my position. And if you think this diversity is really beneficial for a group, imagine that everybody just think like the same way and act the same way. I think this is the point. We have to have different people thinking differently, because then it will also help us to solve solutions, because people can see problems in different points of view. So I think authenticity has to be there. We really embrace this. I have my team had once more than 10 different nationalities in the same team. Imagine how we manage this, but I think the mix was really beneficial. Okay, and then I think finally one of the things we talk a lot about leadership in Nestle, but one thing that I really proud of is that we walk the talk. What we say we do, and I think this is also respecting what I have as my background and culture and what I learned from others. Amber?
Thank you. Being true to ourselves helps us not only to succeed in the workplace, but to be and remain happy. As you've heard firsthand, at Nestle, we encourage everyone to bring their whole self to work. Sometimes that may not be easy to do depending on our circumstances. Greg, what advice do you have when facing adversity, and how have those skills helped you progress at our organization?
Yeah, thanks, Amber. I think for me, it's really around patience, being prepared and staying positive. And what I mean by that is, having patience, giving yourself grace. Sometimes solutions and problems are handled quickly, and sometimes others it takes time. I think the first step is really to communicate the problem at hand with your colleagues and your leaders. The second thing is really be prepared, right? So it's very possible that people may not understand the situation you're going through. So help others understand what that issue is. Is there a cause? Is this something that's recurring or a one-time thing? And then really importantly, be prepared to provide a solution to that, right? Because those colleagues, managers you're working with, may not understand what's going on. And then I would say also stay positive, right? Find allies within your organization. And also remember, not everybody's 100% all the time. So have empathy with others, right? You don't always know what people are going through. In my experience, most people will want to help. And I feel like those three things have really helped me progress within the organization, not only with personal stuff that I'm dealing with, but stuff work-wise as well, right? So I feel like it's really good advice for people to take to heart and really hard to practice, but really great when you master that. So thanks, Amber.
That's amazing advice that were definitely applicable to all of us. Appreciate that response, Greg. We have a variety of employee resource groups that are employee-led, which connect people with shared interests in the spirit of collaboration, relationship building, and mentoring. These groups create a culture that enhances both our professional and personal development, as well as allowing us to gain valuable insight into various backgrounds and communities, thus helping us to expand our awareness. Jessica, how have our employee resource groups impacted you, as well as helped to foster and celebrate DE&I throughout the organization?
Yep. Thanks, Amber. I'm happy to speak to this. So I think there's a lot of things going on. So earlier I talked about, the implications of COVID. So with that, obviously a lot of organizations were concerned on how we were going to stay connected, how we were going to mentor people. But what we've done here at Nestle is really leverage some internal communications to make sure that, number one, people are aware of special dates, right? So I think it's important, a global company, even within the US, when I think about when Helio speaks, all of his diverse backgrounds, his team's diverse backgrounds, I want to make sure that I'm aware of that as a teammate, right? Because then I can recognize those special things within that group and even say, happy Eid or happy Lunar New Year, that sort of thing. But what we also do, and also mentioning women in engineering, they do a great job mentoring. And it's not just, focused on women engineers. They offer it to the whole organization, whether it comes from project management, training, public speaking. They bring in folks from various different industries to give that perspective to people, to really grow people to the next level. So that's something that I think is really unique. But what, on the flip side of it, I also like too that we're courageous enough to share dates that are difficult for us. So, thinking about Memorial Day or Holocaust Memorial Day, those things that don't necessarily have a positive, I guess, light in people's lives, but they're very sensitive, right? So if you have a coworker, you know, who has served, who has lost someone, and, you know, it's Memorial Day, being sensitive and knowing, okay, you know, this person might just need an extra, you know, message of encouragement and solidarity. So I think it's multiple things. It increases our sensitivity and awareness of our diverse teammates. My teammates work all across the world, and I'm so thankful that I can be informed, but it also gives us the opportunity to grow, and no one's shy within sharing. So Amber, that's how they've impacted me.
Thank you for sharing, Jessica. Greg, as a leader in this space, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, to build on what Jessica said, right? Nestle has a large network of ERGs that, and I've been really fortunate to help found the Thrivability Network here, which supports those with visible and invisible disabilities, critical illness, those that serve as caregivers, and support mental wellness. Thrive hosts live and virtual events on these topics. We post articles to our internal workplace page, which was especially critical, right, in the past with all the social unrest that happened, and then obviously with the effects of COVID. I'm really happy to report that Thrive won the Nestle True North Award in 2021, which is Nestle's highest honor. Our CEO, Steve Presley, you know, was very gracious in saying he loved the group because it was really about Nestle helping Nestle, which is really what all our ERGs are about. I would be remiss if I didn't mention our great DE&I team, who are always so encouraging and engaging, allowing us to educate, inspire, and support our colleagues. Nestle, actually, DEI worked with the Disability-In company to benchmark our progress on disabilities, and very proud to say that we scored 100 last year, but we know we still have work to be done. You know, we feel really fortunate that 2 cancer survivors, somebody with a disability like myself, and a caregiver can go out and found an ERG. So Nestle is a truly special place. Thanks, Amber.
Thank you, Greg. Those are all very impressive accolades. We've learned about some of the experiences our panelists have shared while being a part of Nestle. But when did you know Nestle was the place you wanted to build your career? And what keeps you here now? Let's start with you, Caitlin.
Great question. So before joining Nestle in 2018, I was extremely intentional about the company I wanted to work for. I wanted to work for a company that aligned with my values. I wanted to work for a company whose culture I felt like I belonged in. And I also wanted to work for a company who was really committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I was sold as I was going through the interview process, as I was looking at Nestle's social media and website. I was really able to see what the culture was like. I was able to see that these people are truly nice and genuine. They were not just concerned about what I can bring to Nestle, but they also made sure to let me know what I will gain by joining this company too. And what keeps me is a lot of the same. The culture is great. I can attest to that. I've been here since 2018, and it wasn't just the hiring process. The opportunities are endless. At least that's what it seems to be like for me. And the people are kind. But for me, the cherry on top of all of that is our benefits. As I mentioned in my introduction, I am a new mom. And I just recently got to take advantage of the 6-month maternity leave or parental leave benefits, where I was able to take 6 months to really heal, to bond with my daughter, and to really adjust into this new role of motherhood without jumping right back into the workforce. So that's it for me. That's why I joined Nestle, and that's what keeps me here these last 4 years.
Thank you, Caitlin. I also resonate with that response. What about you, Helio?
Yes, I will probably repeat a lot what Caitlin said, because this is what I also feel. I think since the first factory where I worked back in 1996 in Brazil, I always knew that Nestlé is a really serious company, and what they promise, they deliver. So I think they are always respecting the employees and the consumers. So when they say that they are putting in first place the safety of the people, the safety of the food that people will be consuming, this is really true. As an automation engineer, in fact, I was always in the factory floor, and I know exactly how the food is made. And I can tell you that when I was consuming, or when I have my son, my daughter, I was going to my wife, say, you can give with this product without any issue, because I know exactly how the quality level of the quality we have in the products. And I never had any problem to defend this position in 25 years. I think more than this, we are also working in other spaces, like probably will be it. No, we will be the team for the next Nestlé Day, but creating shared value when we're talking about sustainability. And this is another commitment that Nestlé have. It is really important right now. Like more than half of my team are working directly on finding projects to save water and energy inside Nestlé. Okay, and I think the career progression is there. I'm a proof of this. I created my own path to be where I am today. I think most of the times it worked, so that's why I've been able to go in many positions. I wanted our overseas assignment. I was there. I wanted to be a group leader. I'm here. So I think this is also something that we can define and work inside Nestlé. And of course, we have a lot of benefits. I think the benefits are great. And for example, we have now brand new $500 reimbursement in health and wellness that we can do. And another thing is the flexible office policy that we have right now in Nestlé USA. It's great. I can work from home, but also come to the office. By the way, I'm in the office today. Okay, back to you, Amber.
Thank you, Helio. We're certainly so proud to have built an inclusive culture full of opportunities and great benefits here at Nestlé. Inclusivity is a key part of our organization. Jessica, what does it mean to be an inclusive member of the team?
Yep. Thanks, Amber. So I'm actually going to share two stories because I think they are incredibly special and they really resonate a lot with me. So in my introduction, I mentioned that I'm also in the military, which is leading a different set of people and working with another diverse group of people. So when George Floyd was murdered, I struggled. I struggled because I didn't know what to say to my diverse airmen, right? I didn't know how to approach my diverse coworkers. And I remember reaching out to Caitlin and having a conversation with her and talking through the process and what I was feeling and how to communicate it, right? There are no words that I can ever say to her to thank her for that, you know, but I think that speaks to the organization being able to have those courageous and vulnerable conversations, right? Because I personally don't like to ask for help, but I knew that it was important. But I also knew that it was safe enough to do that. So when there was another tragedy, there was a murder of a group of Asian women, I knew right away what I could do. I felt comfortable reaching out to my coworkers and saying, I have no words, but what I can tell you is I will not tolerate hate, and I'm standing with you. And I was surprised at the number of responses I received back from those coworkers, stating that they felt seen. They felt like they didn't have to be strong in that moment. And, you know, you do these things with a pure heart, saying, I want to connect with people because I genuinely hurt for you. But then I think, you know, on the flip side of it, now I've created a relationship with someone. Number one, they feel connected in their Nestlé community. But number two, they feel connected in their world, that someone sees them. And I just feel so blessed to be able to have those tough conversations and be vulnerable and transparent with people, because I think it makes me feel more connected to the organization as well. So thank you, Amber, for letting me share these two stories.
And thank you, Jessica, for sharing those personal experiences. Caitlin, the second part of this question is for you. How has Nestlé made our workforce more inclusive?
That is a loaded question, and to select one thing would be nearly impossible for me. So I am just going to do what Jessica did, and I'll give you one example and one that also sits top of mind and at the top of my heart as well. And I will just refer back to the murder of George Floyd. At that time, our employees, they were hurting, and it was clear that they wanted more. They wanted to share their thoughts and their feelings, but most of all, they wanted us to take action. And we did. We hosted virtual listening sessions weeks over weeks, where we heard from hundreds of employees who wanted to share their thoughts and feelings, primarily around what they'd like to see come out of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we boiled down all of their feedback from all of those listening sessions back to 12 key initiatives, 12 key things that our employees have voiced that they would like to see us commit to see us do. And from there, we, the DE&I team, took it to our leaders. 12 things that we boldly asked them, hey, this is what the employees are saying. This is what the employees would like us to do. Here's how we think we can go about it. We would like your support. In my mind, I was envisioning a company of our size. We were going to have to go through a bunch of red tape. But no, at that meeting, right there and then, our leaders committed to each and every one of those 12 commitments. I was surprised. I thought for sure there was going to be some negotiation, some provide more clarity. We need more information. But no, they saw what the employees needed. They heard their asks, and to this day, we're still very much driven to those 12 commitments. I'm sure some of you all may have seen those 12 commitments that we have made externally, and I'm excited sometime later this year we'll be providing more in-depth detail about the progress that we've been making towards those 12 commitments. But that's just a great example as to what we're doing to help make this workforce more inclusive. It's not just the diversity, equity, and inclusion team that thinks we know everything and thinks we can put together this strategy in a silo. It's really leveraging the voices and the concerns and needs of our employees and putting some action behind them. So there's a lot more that I can say for this one, but I think it's a great question, and that's where I'll leave it. Thank you, Amber.
Thank you for that thoughtful response and for showing us that when the employee speaks, Nestlé listens. At Nestlé, we're always striving to continue to ingrain diversity and inclusivity in how we operate daily, aside from our direct role. Jessica, what interesting projects or teams have you been a part of that have helped build a more inclusive or diverse workplace?
So I talked about my Nestlé journey, but I'll just touch on it again. So I started with Nestlé USA, working on Stouffer's, DiGiorno's, Lean Cuisines, all the yummy things that you find in the freezer. And I recently moved to Nestlé Health Science. So there's a very different consumer, right? So you have the consumer that goes into the grocery store and you see them, picking out things and then, deciding what to eat, right? So here's your sign that you should go get a DiGiorno tonight. But working in Nestlé Health Science, so just a couple weeks ago, it was Feeding Tube Awareness Week. So I'm actually working on a project with Complete, which is a feeding tube meal. So when you think about that, from not only, I'm working on this, it's a part of my daily job, but I'm working on something that impacts somebody's life. What a great opportunity that I have to take pride in what I do because I know it impacts somebody. But then on the flip side, right? So I talked about, maybe there's a toddler saying, okay, I don't like the 5 things that you offered me. And that's the stress of, parents, right? But then you also know that there's a parent that has to, rely on a sole source of nutrition, which is what Complete is for the feeding tube. And it's like, wow, that perspective is much different. So how do I, not just as an employee, but how do I as a citizen, make the world a better place? Well, I do that by being more mindful. And it doesn't always have to take me knowing someone's background to say, wow, they might be going through something. So, just thinking about the broad spectrum of products that I've worked on, it just makes me think a little bit more like, what? Not everybody has it so easy. And if some people really have to think about, what is my child going to eat? What is my family member going to eat? What is my friend going to eat? Because they can't just go into the store and get what they want. So, thinking about tying this back to diversity, we're a diverse world and we're all going through different things. And, diversity is much more than what we think. So I think we just need to be kinder in what we do because we never know what people are experiencing. So those are the fun projects that I'm working on, Amber, and I'm really excited to see what comes with them.
Thank you, Jessica. The impact of all of these is certainly evident. Caitlin, over to you.
Yes, literally, this is my job. So I'm going to actually give an example outside of my everyday roles and responsibilities because I actually had a really cool, fun opportunity. So here at Nestle, we have this thing called Open Channel. And for those of you that are familiar with Shark Tank, it's very much similar to that, where if you have a great idea that can help us be more innovative or agile or a new product that you think our consumers would love, you can post that idea in this internal portal and employees have the opportunity to then vote on some of the best ideas. The top few have then the opportunity to present to our CEO and executives the idea that they have. From working in DE&I and being in HR, I saw that there were people leaving the company because they said that there was lack of opportunity. When I saw that, I was kind of taken aback because when I think of Nestle, as I mentioned earlier, I think of ample opportunity. So I realized, okay, so it's not that there's not a lot of opportunity. What it could possibly be is the lack of access and awareness of the available opportunities that are out there. So I pitched an idea to our CEO to create this, what is now called Talent Marketplace. And it's an internal portal where, let's say me, I'm working on a project scaling a mentoring program and I need a program manager for it. I can post that on the internal portal and I can find somebody who has project management experience to help me. Or if I'm in the DE&I team and I want some experience in finance, I can find a gig in finance. But I think that's a great example as to what we've done to help make this organization more inclusive, to really make sure that we have opportunities available to everyone and everyone, regardless of what your current role is. If you want experience in a completely different function, that is a reality that you can live out here at Nestle. And I am so proud and so incredibly happy that that's something that is manifested and that's taken life and that our employees are really enjoying. So yeah, that's my example. Thanks.
I love Talent Marketplace. It's certainly an amazing program that's available to all of us here. Today's meeting has been great, and we've spoken a lot about how we've been building and will continue to build a more diverse and inclusive community for employees. Looking to the future, what projects or initiatives is Nestle working on to be a more inclusive company when it comes to our consumers? Greg, could you share your thoughts?
Sure. Thanks, Amber. A great question there. I think everybody that works at Nestle knows we're always changing, we're always improving. Change is a constant here. Nestle's done a really great job of thinking about our consumers' diets as an example. So whether that's our Sweet Earth products, right, as people are going meatless, thinking about new plant-based creamers from Natural Bliss or Starbucks. Globally, we've introduced a vegan Kit Kat. There's always new thoughts out there on how we can continue to be inclusive to our consumers. I know that internally we're also working on improving our supplier diversity, inclusive marketing efforts, and our digital accessibility. And then in the future, I can see Nestle tackling projects like maybe putting Braille on packaging, who knows? But it's really exciting times ahead. Thanks, Amber.
Thanks, Greg. Definitely great things to work on towards the future. Caitlin, in regards to our workforce, what are your insights?
Yeah, so personally, I believe that creating an inclusive culture, it doesn't happen by chance, at least not for a company of our size. It happens by design and intention. It's something that we are constantly working at and constantly prioritizing. And for us, it's important that we remain agile, keep our ears on the ground while being as proactive as we can. We have a four-pillar strategy that promotes inclusivity across our leadership, how we develop and engage our employees, and how we bring talent into the organization. And of course, an important pillar with Nestle is how we engage with our community. For example, a project that I'm currently working on that actually doesn't launch until Q2, so you guys have kind of a sneak preview into what is to come. My colleague and I, Anthony, we are launching our first ever DE&I Leadership Council, which I'm super passionate and excited about. This council will be comprised of some of our most senior leaders, where their focus will really be to help advance our DE&I efforts while removing roadblocks, giving feedback, making sure that we are aligned to the business, you name it. So this is just to reinforce, obviously, their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is their opportunity to be lockstep with us, but also making sure that we're lockstep with the business too. Although DE&I sits underneath the umbrella of HR, that's not the only place in which it lives. So in the future, I definitely see our leaders being more involved. I see us moving with more speed and agility. And another project that I'm really excited about is our mentoring coaching program that we're partnering with this external company called Pilot with. This year, we're launching 7 internal mentoring / coaching cohorts underneath the umbrellas of our DE&I team and our finance team and the digital team too. And yeah, that's just a quick little few examples of what we're doing to ensure inclusivity within our organization.
Thanks, Caitlin. We're all super excited on what's to come there. I love how passionate our panel has been. We've had an amazing discussion on values that are paramount to how we operate. It's now time to take some questions from the audience. So far, we've received a handful of questions, so let's first kick it off to Helio. Helio, what is your approach to understanding the perspectives of colleagues from different backgrounds?
I think from my experience, is just be open. Be open, listen to the people, talk with the people. Just this. I think one recent case I had, I was in an event here in the Cleveland area with some electricians from the factory, people who I never met before. And just talking with them during one of the coffee breaks, I could learn about his past, his family, and some issues that he was having in the factory. And then I could address this later on. So I think and then I was always in my career open door type of approach. I was always asking the people to come to me to talk. Sometimes people are a bit shy when you have your boss or even the boss of your boss asking, okay, come talk with me. They are not always willing, but I think from my side, I also try to do my best. You go to a coffee break, you are going to talk just informally with the people to create some kind of bond, and this will be helping in the future. For example, when I was going to other countries, I was always trying to learn at least how to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, thank you, and give me a beer. So it was just a way to break the ice, and then you can have a bit more deeper conversation and try to understand the other side and try to help them. I think this was my approach. Amber?
Thank you, Helio. This next question is for Jessica. Can you share more about the programs, training, and expectations Nestlé champions to advance DE&I?
Yep, so I'll actually frame this with the military community at Nestlé because it's something that I'm obviously close to. So how does Nestlé champion it? It's really kind of amazing to think about it. So they definitely encourage us through opportunities to externally and internally connect with folks and sharing our perspective. As far as training, I would say that if we have an ask that we can work with our DE&I team, and they definitely try to connect us. But on top of that, and something that's really special and something that I feel like is unique is we actually champion folks to put a diversity goal within their development plans. So what does that mean? That means that you have your manager's support to go out and do these things. And we're also unafraid to look at external companies and say, okay, how are they successful in getting diverse talent, and what can we do? So, you know, it just depends on the end goal, but I would say that there is an endless opportunity to drive things, and the courage to say, you know what, maybe we're not doing it the best, but at least we know we can go out and, you know, see how we can do it better through what other companies are doing.
Thank you for sharing. That was quite an enlightening session, and it looks as though we are at time for our Q&A. Thank you so much for interacting and spending some time with us this afternoon. If you haven't had the chance to explore our Nestlé career site, you can find us at nestléjobs.com. Be sure to opt in to join our talent community. You'll receive a link to do that in the follow-up email. Joining our talent community will ensure you receive emails about what it's like to work at Nestlé, some of the exciting things happening within our workplace, and what's new in our product portfolio. We have a number of openings across our operating companies, so remember to set up job alerts upon joining our talent community so you can be the first to know about new roles in the specific functional areas you're interested in. And as a reminder, within the next 48 hours, you'll receive a follow-up email with a link to the event recording for you to rewatch. I had a great time with everyone today, and I hope you feel the same and learned more about Nestlé and why DE&I is such a central part of our company fabric. If you're interested in learning more about Nestlé culture and community, we will be hosting 2 more events in the Nestlé Day series. In April and later this year in October, we will be covering the topics of sustainability and innovation. Today, we've learned how our panelists make DE&I their own, but that's not all. There are many more inspiring stories just like these. I'll leave you all with the video of Tiffany, a supermom and change agent empowered at Nestlé.
Being empowered at Nestlé means to me having a vision, having the commitment and the courage to lend your voice and to advocate. Advocate for yourself and what you want, as well as advocate for others, whether it's other mothers, other Black employees, other people on your team. For me, this was the first time in my career where I was able to bring my whole self to work as being a mom. Being a mom is not only welcomed, but it's also celebrated. So I love that I'm able to bring my point of view into the office and draw inspiration from my family.